Another deadly mass shooting in America. Another community in mourning. Another news cycle spent discussing the gunman, the investigation, the missed signals, and most importantly, the lives lost. But in the shadows of these stories are the survivors, those who escape mass shootings with their lives, but must find a way to manage the injuries, the memories and the trauma. And with every new attack that makes headlines, it all comes rushing back. It was heartbreaking, says Phil Andrew about the Highland Park shooting on July 4. To know that once again, in America, somebody was able to access a dangerous military assault-style weapon and rain bullets down on what should have been an enjoyable day. Shattering lives. The Chicago suburb's annual July 4th parade ended in tragedy after a gunman opened fire on the crowd, killing. The attack hit close to home for Andrew, who survived a mass shooting 34 years ago. It took place just a few miles away from the Highland Park attack at an elementary school in neighboring Winnetka, Illinois. That tragic day, a woman armed with handguns entered a second-grade classroom and opened fire, killing an 8-year-old boy and injuring 5 others. Afterwards, she fled the scene, then entered the Andrew house and held his family hostage for more than an hour. Phil, who was 20 years old at the time, was home from college on the first day of spring break and convinced her to let the rest of his family leave if he agreed to stay with her. Eventually, she shot Phil. A bullet ripped through my chest, both of my lungs, severed my esophagus and grazed my pericardium, he recalls. I was very lucky to survive. Now a 54-year-old consultant and former FBI special agent, he said his experience inspired him to get into law enforcement and try to prevent more shootings. Immediately, even before I left the hospital, I realized that my way forward was to make sure that I understood and play a role in making sure it wouldn't happen again. He especially remembers the people who tended to his wounds after being shot, who told him to stay awake and immediately started using swimmer terminology. Andrew was a swimmer in college, to convince him to power through. One of the things. There were amazingly heroic first responders who came to me at great risk to themselves, literally entering into a scene where they were putting themselves at risk to render aid. And really somewhere in there, they also were challenging me with what I was going to do with this kind of gift I was